front clap. Okay, Carl, go ahead.
All right, so our next speaker is MD Kaes from Bemidji State University, and his title is Hyperspectral Imaging for Plant Identification.
Thanks, Dr. Carl. Good morning, everyone. My name is MD Kaes. I'm a graduate student the Department of Environmental Studies at Bemidji State University. Today, I'll give a brief introduction to the project, Hyperspectral Imaging for Plant Identification, which has been done under the supervision of my supervisor and academic advisor, Dr. Carl Jackson. So algal bloom in the water body is a big challenge in Minnesota. Non-point source pollution runs off the land and can affect lakes, rivers, wetlands, groundwater, and drinking water supplies. Sediment and nutrients are the most recognized non-point pollutants here. So in this slide, the red regions on the left-hand side of the figure shows that less than 20% of the lakes have good water quality. Similarly, the red regions on the right-hand side show that less than 20% of the streams of those areas have healthy aquatic life. So conventional approaches to monitor water quality requires collecting individual graph samples, which are then measured in a lab using wet chemistry techniques. This approach gives only precise point information. The conventional approach doesn't provide significant spatial resolution. Better data can help scientists predict or prevent negative effects of poor water quality, such as algae blooms. But collecting those data can be expensive, time-consuming, or even almost impossible. By using a remote sensing technology like drones, satellites, and unmanned cameras, we can collect high-resolution data. High-resolution data gives a clearer overview picture. Remote sensing lets water quality experts to see more than they could see in person and process more data faster at a cheaper rate. So for our project of this hyperspectral imaging, we used DJI Mavic 2 Pro with smart controller. This is a drone. Then MicaSense Ultim multispectral sensor. This is the camera. Apple Minitag. And the software we used is DJI Go for controlling the drone, DJI GS Pro for drawing the flight path, and Google Earth for selecting the region of interest, and Spectranon for data analysis. This figure shows Dr. Carl was giving me instructions about how he wanted the drone to be flown. And basically,
could you go back to that? Could you go back to that previous slide and talk about the great tarp a little bit?
Yeah, you can see there is a white tarp here. This is basically gives the camera what we say for calibration purpose, that the field we are scanning, where we are, and for the images, how to calibrate this one. So this is the reference point here. So we used the white plastic. So when we take the images, we know where we started and what area the drone is covering. So this is for calibration, or to know where we started, or a known point in the picture. Then what we basically did in this project.
MD, your audio is a bit garbled.
Now it is clear?
Not any better.
Yeah, something changed. Could you maybe disconnect and then reconnect to audio? It was okay, and then it stopped, it started being garbled.
Yeah, as soon as I had to go back a slide, something disconnected and reconnected.
Right now,
Now it's okay, no?
Nope, it's still pretty garbled.
I don't think that's on our end. No, it's.
It's on, I think it's on his end.
Let's see what's wrong here.
MD, do you have more than one microphone? Could you switch to a different microphone?
You can hear me?
That's good.
That's good?
Yeah,
Okay, sorry for that.
no problem.
Okay, basically this picture, this slide shows what we did. Actually with Google Earth, we selected the location of our interest. Then we drew the flight path on the place of interest with DJI GS Pro and apps. Then we merged them together. Then we connected the drone with the controlling app, DJI Go, which is installed in our iPad. So this is the analysis part. We did our experiment at the farmland of Dr. Tim, ex-professor of Bemidji State University, because he has a huge farmland, and he gave us permission, and it is safe to fly over there because the drone is huge. And here we can see in his plan squash patches, clear plastics on the left-hand side, black plastics and dead grass, etc. The hyperspectral camera scan in the class from around 375 nanometers up to around 1100 nanometers. On the right-hand side, we can see their spectral curves. Dark lines are solid lines are indicating the mean, and the shaded regions indicating the standard deviation. Notice there are regions where there is considerable overlap in the curves, but there are also region where there is clear differences. Around 750 nanometer band, we can see a peak of green solid line. And this is actually the chlorophyll peak, which has been captured from the squash plant. Machine learning algorithms can identify the difference in the spectral curve and accurately classify the different things available in the scanning area and shows them in a color classification map. Then the top image, the top one is the squash patch. Here we try to best match each pixel of the image with the squash, and can see where the squash plants are on the whole area of interest. We did the same thing with clear plastic. You can see the orange one. In the whole scanning area, these clear plastics are available in those areas. And the red picture is showing, actually, this is the dead grass. So the picture we are showing, the dead grasses are mostly available in those areas.
So it's really evident where that the last summer was really dry and he had a lot of grass in his pasture.
Yeah, dead grasses, because if the grasses were green like the squash patches, then we could have seen the green colors, because Dr. Tim was just only watering. Water was expensive at the time because of the dry season, and he was only watering the squash plant. So grasses are a little bit gray dry, so it is showing in the different color. That's how camera actually identifying the differences of the different things. Then if we merge those all, the whole picture could be like that. The green area represents different kind of plants or things. So, red dots or red area is representing another things or something like that. So this is how actually we can identify what kind of things or what kind of color things are available in the whole area of scanning. And as a conclusion, we can say that using hyperspectral imaging, we can easily identify which areas of the water body are affected by algal bloom and how severe it is, because the more green it becomes, the more severe the algal bloom, and it will show in a different color in the classification map. And this method is cheap, time-saving, and accurate. Thanks.
All right, thank you for that, MD. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question. Have you tried flying this at different seasons or only in the summertime?
Only in the summertime, because in Bemidji area, the winter, everything is white. So it is very difficult to identify, different things because everything is covered with snow.
Yeah.
So we tried in the last summer, and yeah, we tried on Dr. Tim's field.
Yeah, but that's something we want to do, Tim, or James, I'll you Tim. So yeah, James, that's something we want to do, fly it over the course of the year and see how those spectral maps change.
And another thing is that we actually, me and Dr. Carl went through the 101 and autopilot train, what does it call? Autopilot or certification, because we cannot fly the drone anywhere. There is a airspace restriction, and in the Bemidji area, we have a airport. So if we want to fly the drone near the airport, the drone will not fly itself. But if you force the drone fly, then some security problem might occur.
Yeah, so we need to make sure that we have the right authorization to do that.
Right authorization. So we selected a remote place, but every farmland is not available. Yeah. So we got permission from Dr. Tim, ex-professor of Bemidji State University. So there are a lot of restrictions. There are a lot of flying zones, red zones, green zones, yellow zones, and they have time zones. So these are the things that we need to consider. And we cannot fly on the populated area, because in case the drone doesn't work, because this is a very complicated drone and the complicated camera.
All right. So, yeah. Anybody else have any other questions?
What about flying over water? Can you, well, it may be dangerous to do so, but could you understand what's going on beneath the surface of the water?
That is the idea. Yeah. So you want to fly it over lakes.
Yeah, so we have a plan. We have a plan this summer, because we were successful last summer flying over the land. So our idea is to grab the algal bloom, the picture of the algal bloom. So this summer we have a plan that we'll fly on the lakes and try to get the real lake data from that.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody else have any questions? I'll try to make sure MD answers it and not myself. We are at 43 after, so if you have any questions, our contact information is given in the app draft book, I believe. So MD, you can stop sharing now.
Why don't you turn off the recording?
So are Megan and Robbie here?